Good morning, friends. We're back. I thought this week we would start a new investigation around plants. This week we're going to focus mostly on trees. And I thought a great place to start this week would be with this book, Are Trees Alive? By Debbie S. Miller. And after we read this book, we're going to let Millie explain the difference about what makes some things living and what makes some things non-living. So let's get started. Are trees alive? And this book actually goes through a whole bunch of trees that are all around the earth. Are Trees Alive? By Debbie S. Miller, illustrated by Stacy Schuett. Long roots wiggle through the soil. They gather water and minerals that trees need to grow. Roots anchor a tree, like your feet help you to stand. Sturdy trunks stand short and tall. A trunk supports the body of a tree, like your legs support your body. Branches hold animals, the nests of birds, swings, and tree houses. They sway gently in the wind, like a mother's arms rock her baby. Bark is dark or light, rough or smooth, thick or thin, just like people's skin. Bark protects the inside of a tree from harsh weather and insects, just like your skin protects you. The crown of a tree reaches for the sky and gathers sunlight. A crown is at the top of a tree, like your head is at the top of your body. The branches and leaves of a large crown give you lots of shade on a hot summer day. Leaves breathe for the tree. Trees need air, just like you need air. Instead of using noses and lungs, leaves breathe through thousands of tiny pores, known as stomata. Leaves flutter in the breeze, like your hair blows in the wind. Sticky sap travels through small tubes inside the tree, between the roots and the leaves. Without sap, the tree could not live, just like your body could not live without blood. Look at the veins of a leaf and compare them to the veins in your hand. Some tree sap is even harvested by people. Trees grow flowers of all shapes and sizes, of bright and soft colors. A pretty flower can attract insects and birds, just like your smiling face can attract a new friend. Animals feed on the nectar and pollen of the flowers. They help spread the pollen so that trees can make seeds and grow fruit. Some seeds are tiny and fluffy and fly with the wind. Others are protected inside their fruit. The coconut tree grows the largest seed on earth. Seeds sprout and become saplings. Then they grow up into be trees. Just like babies become children and then grow up to be adults. Some trees die because of fires, disease, or storm damage. Many trees are cut down by people for their wood. But some trees live to be very, very old, just like some people live more than 100 years. During winter, some trees have bare limbs and twigs that lace the cold sky. This is the time when many trees rest without their leaves. Trees need rest, just like you do. Right? This tree is not dead. It's just sleeping its way through the winter. When spring comes, the trees awaken from their winter's rest. Leaf buds swell on the branches. Cherry trees blossom. With more sunshine, the trees burst with new life, just like you burst out the door with your friends to play and celebrate each spring. When you picnic under a tree, the forest has a picnic of its own. The sun helps the leaves make food, the rain brings the drink, and the wind brings music to the forest. And that's the end. Now, each illustration of this book features a different tree from different places around the world. There's the Boab tree of Africa, the redwood trees of California and Oregon, gum trees from Australia, paper birch from right around where we live, banyan trees from India, weeping willows from China, Canadian sugar maples, and the cocoa and kapok trees in South Africa. So there are trees all over the earth, and they serve a very, very important function. And we're going to talk about those as we go forward throughout the week. But today, the point of this story is that trees are alive and living just like you and I are alive and living. So here we are. We just read a book about what makes trees living things. Millie's going to come and give a little science lesson on living versus non-living things, and then we'll meet back and play a game.
Scientists called biologists study all sorts of living things. They have come up with 4 rules which determine if something is living or non-living. Rule number 1. Living things need energy. For animals, getting energy means eating and drinking. For plants, it means taking in nutrients from the soil and taking in energy from the sun. For me, that means fishing for peas. Yum. Rule number 2. Living things grow and change. Look at me in this picture when I was a baby. Every animal that is born, whether it's a person, a rat, or a puppy, or a fish, every animal grows up and changes. Plants grow and change too. Trees grow bigger, they grow branches, vines get longer, buds sprout, and leaves and seeds grow. Rule number 3. Living things reproduce. That means they make more of themselves. Animals have babies, and plants make seeds.
And so here's the acorn, and we've got the root part that's growing down, and the seedling part that's growing up.
Rule number 4. Living things respond to the world around them. When something in their world changes, living things change too.
And then watch, if we make it rain, Gary will go hide. He pulls his eyes back inside.
Let's think about what happens when it gets cold outside. Animals may shiver, or put on clothing, or move someplace where it is warm. They adapt and respond to the world around them. Trees and plants can't get up and move away, but they certainly can respond to the world as it changes. Trees can lose their leaves and go dormant for the long winter months. Now that you've learned all about living and non-living things, let's play a game. Look at the following pictures and see if you can figure out whether the things featured are living or non-living.
Can you find 3 living things in this picture?
If you said Todd, Spencer, and the trees, you found them all. Good job.
A car? It needs gas and energy to move. Is that enough to make it a living thing?
Nope, it's not alive. Just like all other technology, it might need energy to work, but it doesn't eat, it doesn't grow, and it doesn't reproduce. Not alive.
What do biologists consider picked veggies and cut flowers? Are they living or non-living?
If you said living, you were right. We can call them living things because they were once part of a living thing, just like this giant branch Spencer is trying to carry home. It was once part of a tree. These mounted specimens in the STEM lab were also once living things too.
Magnets make things change and react. Are they living or non-living?
If you said non-living, you're right. They don't have babies or grow.
How about the veggies we plant in our gardens at home or at school? Are they living or non-living?
Plants follow all 4 rules. They are definitely living. Take a look at how much our vegetable garden has grown. You can even see the new baby fruit and vegetables growing.
What do we think about dinosaurs? Are they living or non-living?
This can get a bit tricky. If we're looking at dinosaur toys, they are non-living. They are no more alive than this teddy bear. If we're talking about the animals that they represent, however, we would classify dinosaurs as being living. They were once alive, but now they are extinct. So toys, non-living, animals, living.
Water moves and changes based on its environment. Is it living or non-living?
Water does not eat, grow, or reproduce. So even though it changes, dependent on its environment, it's missing 3 out of the 4 rules for living things.
What about the sun and clouds? Are they living?
The light and heat from the sun and the rain from the clouds make all life on Earth possible. But the sun and the clouds themselves are not living.
Go for a walk around your yard or neighborhood. What kind of living things or non-living things can you find and classify?